to spread them a little bit.
We're going to move now.
Anna as well, and that's why I kind of placed it a little in the middle. But
Just a little bit. Just a little bit, maybe.
just let me know when you guys are ready. My name is Mo Aziz, M-O-A-Z-I-Z. We're here today to talk about a very tragic incident that happened to a young man, Joaquin Erheta, on July 22nd of last year, July 22nd, 2022. Joaquin is a young Houstonian electrical engineer that worked for Reliant Energy. He went, had a night out with his brother. They went to a few bars downtown. The last bar was Shot Bar in Midtown. And being the responsible professional that Joaquin was, he and his brother decided to call for an Uber instead of having to drive home. We know there was an Uber called first to an address that showed up to an address close to the place where the incident happened. Then the Uber showed up to where Joaquin and his brother were waiting for their ride. What happened after that is still somewhat unclear, other than the fact that Joaquin's last memory, and he really doesn't have much of a memory left from that day or generally, his brother's memory is that the Uber driver ran Joaquin over. And there was some type of exchange, and what we know is that there was a hit and run. The Uber driver left the scene, drove over Joaquin, and caused him serious and permanent brain damage. And what we see today is not the man that Joaquin was before he got run over. EMTs were called to the scene. They immediately took him to Memorial Hermann. Joaquin has spent 6 months at Memorial Hermann and at TIRR, which is the rehab facility, which is an extensive stay. Joaquin, as I mentioned earlier, was an electrical engineer, graduated from U of H, lived by himself, has 3 other brothers and 2 loving parents. Now, after being discharged, Joaquin lives at home with his parents. Joaquin cannot work anymore. He would like to work. I asked him before we came in here, I said, Joaquin, would you like to go back to work? And he would, but unfortunately, the damage to his brain is so severe that, at least in the foreseeable future, work is not an option. Independent living is not an option. What makes this case unique, at least in my perspective, is the complete lack of transparency that we have seen from Uber. Joaquin's phone was locked for a while when he was in an extended coma. His brothers tried to contact Uber. They tried to figure out who this driver was. HPD was called. There was a case that was open of a assault with a vehicle causing serious bodily injury. At least that's what happened here. Uber did not provide the family with any information about the driver. The response they got from Uber was, we have suspended the account of the individuals you reported while we reviewed this issue further. Well, that review of that issue is still ongoing, and we have not heard anything from them. The families reached out to Uber. I have reached out to Uber through their counsel. We gave them a date of the incident, the severity of the incident, and the HPD cause number. But to date, 6 months, almost 6 months after the incident, or more than 6 months after the incident, we have not heard any type of detail as to what happened, whether there's any video of this incident, whether there was any dash cam that the driver had, or even who this person is. They're out there in the streets of Houston, and one would assume that Uber itself would be greatly interested in knowing what happened here and making sure that there is accountability for this family and so that and justice for Joaquin. With that, I'm gonna pass it off to Anna and Luis. They're both they are Joaquin's parents. Joaquin is here. If you have a question for him, he'll try his best to answer it. But if it becomes too stressful for him, then I'd rather you all address it to Anna. I do want Anna to say some words about how, from her perspective, this has affected her family and her son. Go ahead.
Here's some more. I'm going to slide these down a little bit.
Yes, sir.
For me, my husband and my family, it really affect my son's life, especially because he's so young, and I don't think this is fair, somebody just in responsibility. I just want justice, because this is not fair. His life lost it, and that's all I can say.
Excuse me, ¿habla español?
Sí.
¿Nos puede compartir unas palabras en español? ¿Cómo se siente, señora?
Pues yo me siento muy triste porque la vida de mi hijo se perdió. No sé si él va a volver a ser la misma persona. Estamos tratando de rehabilitarlo, pero no se me hace justo que no se haga justicia para él y que Uber no quiera compartir información, porque se perdió una vida, no se perdió algo que no tenga valor. Mi hijo es una persona más.
¿Cuál es la situación actual de su hijo de salud?
Él tiene daños del cerebro, está recibiendo rehabilitación, pero sigue en proceso. En verdad no sabemos qué va a pasar con su vida, ni los doctores saben decirnos. Cada caso es diferente.
So, Anna, so once again, you were saying for you and your family, what's it been like again? I was adjusting the mics.
For me and my family, it affect like my son especially, because he's damaged, it makes his brain. He can continue his life. He's, professional person. He's engineer. And I don't think this is fair, his life lost it like that. They need, somebody, help us, with this, because I don't think this is right. That's all I can say.
Can you compare what life has been like with Joaquin before the accident, compare it to what he deals with now, and the change?
Yeah, Joaquin is very dependable person. He make everything by himself. He's very, independable. Professional. He's so happy with his career. Everything is lost just for one person in responsibility.
Señor, ¿me puede compartir lo mismo, pero en español? ¿Cómo era Joaquín antes de ese accidente?
Joaquín era una persona que dependía mucho de él mismo. Después del accidente, yo tengo que cuidar de él y todo. Él era una persona que se valía completamente de todo. Él estaba muy feliz con su carrera, todo. tenía muchos proyectos y por alguien irresponsable se perdió su vida, se puede decir, porque no sé en verdad cómo va a ser la vida de Joaquín, ni los doctores saben decirlo. Yo espero que se recupere, pero nada es prometedor hasta ahorita.
What's your thoughts on just Uber not wanting to help out here? Uber not coming forth with any information to help?
I don't know why, but they don't want to help give information at all. I mean, they're just trying to protect, or I don't know, but I don't think that's fair, you know, they don't want to give information because it's one life, that's what I'll tell you again. I mean, and my son, I mean, he's a person, you know, live normal life. See, he's working, he make everything, and right now he's depend everything on us, and I don't think this is fair and right. I mean, I just want, you know, justice for him. I mean.
And the driver, he's still riding around Houston.
Oh yeah. And this is not right completely. I mean, it's something like really frustrating me because I see him, you know, his recovery is slow, but it's nothing promised. I mean, I didn't even know what's going to happen for the future.
Señor, ¿qué es lo que exige usted hoy día?
Yo quiero justicia para mi hijo y quiero que esa persona se le haga justicia, más que todo, porque aún ni dinero no vale nada lo que le pasó a mi hijo. Y eso no va a compensar nada, todo el dinero del mundo al daño que se le hizo.
¿Uber no ha escuchado usted nada de Uber?
No.
Louis, would you like to add something?
No, that's okay.
And, is Joaquin able to share a few words?
Ma'am, you can ask him a question if you want.
Move
And,
it down.
yeah. It's hard for him to.
Yeah, we're taking our time. Some
Yeah.
information.
I'm sorry, my voice still a little.
¿No quieres contestar nada?
Yeah, and I'd rather not, just because of the way my phone is right
Okay.
now.
Okay, Papa. Okay, it's okay.
It's okay. We don't have to. Just
Just lower it back. He doesn't want to.
do you want to see if they can ask you a question? And this, if it's too much, then we'll stop. Is that okay?
Maybe just
Okay.
one sentence that whatever you want to share.
Joaquin, what do you hope to see at the end of this process?
Hope to see better pursuits and just a better correlative to it all.
What's been the most difficult thing for you?
Memories, issues. That's been a big one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
And it was a male driver, as far as you know? Or,
For the brother, yes.
okay.
So what's next?
So
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
So the obviously the next step in the process is for Uber to respond to the lawsuit. We've been reaching out in the past informally to try to get some type of dialogue, to get some information about the driver. After being completely given no information, we had no choice but to file this case. Joaquin has significant future medical needs, significant future care needs. His parents are taking care of him right now, but they're just going to get older and older. So the next step in the process is to get into the litigation process, get Uber's response. We hope that HPD will take a second look at this incident also. This is a serious bodily assault with the vehicle, and it needs to be pursued in the criminal arena as well as the civil arena, right? I mean, this is not a situation where there can be no consequence. So I know Anna has been calling the detective in the past to try to get updates. There really hasn't been much by way of update. As far as we know, HPD has not served any type of subpoena on Uber. So the family has been forced into this position. I mean, Anna and Luis are both immigrants. They've built a life for themselves here. They have 4 sons. All 4 are college graduates, professionals. And what this was going to be the, kind of their time in their lives to count on their 4 boys to take care of them has now become into Anna and Luis having to take care of Joaquin, right? And so it's very unfortunate on so many levels. And I think, and I hope that now Uber and both the authorities can start looking into this again.
Is there a study for requesting Uber in the lawsuit?
No, ma'am. Due to his age being so young and his future medical needs being so uncertain, we just don't know yet.
And you mentioned the phone. In his phone, it was probably in the newsroom this morning. We were like, well, when you call up Uber, you know who they are. You have their license plate. Is that somewhere in his phone still? Or?
Sir, so what we actually did a forensic exam of the phone to get that information, and at some point this may have changed, and you all can confirm this, but after a certain number of days, that information now disappears. Okay? So if you call a ride, you're going to have that information maybe for 24 hours or some period of time. But by the time that he woke up from his coma, we got the phone, got it to a forensic person. That information is gone.
Talk to us about HPD and what type of investigation did they do to begin with, and was there any video from the local bars or
Yes, sir. So, we will definitely look into the angle of video from bars and all that. But what you have to understand, by the time we get involved in this situation, months and months had passed, right? So the family is not one that was just looking to go hire a lawyer, right? Which is problematic in this situation, that evidence may have been lost. But we do know that HPD was contacted that night, and there was a case number that was assigned, and we just do not know whether they canvassed the neighborhood. This was in Midtown. There's a lot of bars and businesses, there's gas stations, apartments. That type of information would be crucial. And so we're hoping that HPD did those steps, but to our knowledge, and despite repeated calls by Anna, we don't have a suspect. And as far as we know, there's nobody even looking for a suspect. It's one of those deals, hey, some guys were at a bar, they left, they called an Uber, there was an incident. Open a case, end of story.
Yeah.
Can you say and spell your name one more time for me?
Yes, sir. First name is Mo, M-O. Last name Aziz, A-Z-I-Z.
And the mother, her first and last name?
Anna?
Ana, A-N-A, Iraeta is I-R-A-H-E-T-A,
One N in Anna?
one N.
¿De dónde son ustedes?
Yo soy de Monterrey.
And pronounce your last name?
Iraeta is I-R.
And Mo, just forgive my ignorance here. When someone signs up to be an Uber driver, legally under that umbrella, are they then a contract employee for Uber? Is that why Uber is a part of this? Like, how does that?
Sure.
How do you hold Uber responsible for the actions of this person?
Yes, sir. And that's actually a very good legal question, right? So, because there's been a lot of litigation involving Uber, one just by way of accidents, right? They get into an accident. There's been litigation in the past about Uber drivers involved in sexual assaults of customers. The exact nature of the employment relationship will be determined in the case, but generally, Uber hires independent contractors, and at the time of this incident, the driver is getting paid to do a service, and Uber is making money for that service. So really, they're acting as an agent for Uber, and in furtherance of their business. Okay, good guys. Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you all so much.